Hello and welcome back here. This is the last and concluding part on is polygamy ever right for a Christian? And we are still answering this question. And if you have watched part one and part two, I'm sure you've learned so much. Follow me even as we go to part three. And yes, we are answering this question because it's become a topical issue once again with people confusing Christians, including so-called men of God, that you know polygamy is not something that has been banned, and that it was a culture of Europeans that was monogamous, and they have actually pushed it on us. We've spoken to that issue. That is not true. So I hope you go back and listen to um, those messages, one and two. Now, I want to read, as we were reading, from the beginning, I said it appears right from the beginning, God wanted monogamy. But man's, just like divorce, when Jesus spoke to Israel, he said, if from the beginning it was not so, but because of the stubbornness of your heart, that's how come Moses gave you that law. In the same way, from the beginning, it was one man, one woman. Because of the stubbornness of the heart of man, man just allowed it. God just allowed it to go on. But then he put in strict rules to ensure that some of these negative effects were mitigated, actually. So today, too, we are talking about as it progressed, God became fed up with this polygamy issue and how it was destroying everything. So in Malachi chapter 2, verse 14, this is just when we are about to go into the New Testament. It said, yet ye say, and he's talking about when the people were complaining that God is against them. Wherefore, because the Lord had been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously, yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. In other words, if this meant divorce, then it will not be the wife of your youth, it will be the former wife of your youth, and she will not be their companion. So this is clearly one of those things that is talking about polygamy, where somebody is seeing his wife is old and now wants a shinier wife, to enjoy and want to pack the old wife somewhere. 15. And did not he make one? So he's explaining that didn't God just make one when he was making it? Yet had he the residue of the Spirit and went for one that he might seek a godly seed. Therefore, take heed to your spirit and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth. I mean, they don't make the man one man. They did not make the woman one woman, so that he through them will produce a godly seed. That is what he's saying. For the Lord, the God of Israel, said that he hated putting away. For one covered violence with his garment, said the Lord of hosts, and therefore take heed to your spirit that you deal not treacherously. Um, treacherously, let me see, treacherously. So we see a scenario here where God is talking about that same wife that we had, treat her well, nourish her, instead of deceiving her and going for another, actually. And that you must understand that I'm not only insisting on you staying with the wife that you are with now, but then from the beginning, that was what God made. It was so from the start. Therefore, it's not any strange commandment I am giving you. Let me see if I can get the rest of the scripture. I don't run out of time. Um, so we have another scripture that backs the monogamy agenda. Um, Now, yeah, when we are looking for a bishop in a church, a certain criteria is given. For human beings, you can only go so far in actually monitoring them maybe. But once you want a leader of God's flock, you want somebody who's above reproach. And amazingly, one of the requirements for a man being above reproach was that that man must be a man of one wife. So First Timothy chapter 3, verse 2 says, a bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, up to teach. Sometimes people are trying to, put this in the context that there's some lofty requirement was being made of the bishop, and it did not apply to the general masses. If that was the case, then it means also that the general masses are not required to be of good behavior. Neither are they required to be sober. Neither are they required to be given to hospitality or be able to teach. What he was making people aware of was that the standard that God requires of them was that a husband had one wife, and that they might not be having one wife or one husband now, but then that's what they are supposed to be aspiring for and hoping to come out of, so that they can reach that goal of having being a woman of one man or a man of one woman. So that is what you can see clearly here. Timothy is saying it, that if you want to be a bishop, this time. It's not that you should go and do any lofty thing. Just make sure you are one wife and stick to that one wife, the very wife of your youth. Again, we have the scriptures. We have the scripture here where we are talking seriously about it. The fact that from the very Old Testament all the way to Malachi to the New Testament, there is no support whatsoever for polygamy. So 2 Corinthians chapter 7 says, now concerning the things wherefore you wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. But to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every man have her own husband. Clearly, the Bible is saying here that it is to have a wife, not wives, a wife, a husband, not husbands. So here we see 1 Corinthians chapter 7 clearly also debunking the notion of polygamy being an African thing and monogamy being a European thing. And so it goes on to say, the wife has no power of her own body, but the husband. And they like also that the husband has no power of his own body, but the wife. So clearly it is a one woman, one man thing. There's no other way around it. There's no way around it. There's a one man, one woman thing, actually. So we can see that clearly from here. And then let's see whether you have any scripture left. Yes, I think we have a scripture left. Okay, let me go back to there. So clearly, if you want to be somebody of good behavior, you are required to be a husband of one wife. Okay, because these things were so widespread all across the world. It was just widespread. Actually, so they had to come down here and actually make sure it was being done. Now, so we talked about the fact that 1 Corinthians chapter 7, that one talks about a partner having one partner or one having one husband and not the other way around. So that's another proof, actually. And I want to conclude on this, that if the fact that the notion that God is angry, happy with marrying more than one, is not an erroneous notion. It is a clear notion that God says He wants us to have one person. Remember when God was making Eve out of for Adam, making Eve for Adam, He could have made a number of Eves and named them and asked him to choose one, or asked him to take all of them as his wives. But He chose to make only one, because He knew only one woman was enough for you. Only one woman has enough on a plate to occupy the life of any man. You don't need several women to actually feel like you're married. And if you do, you're going to have difficulties for the rest of your life. So that is the requirement for a bishop. You could not be a bishop with more than one wife. You could not be a bishop for a solid reputation. So that is it. So that's what we're saying. If anybody says